Hello there, only one Kenobi here, only one. I can't wait to open these now. This is the second wave of the first 12 for the retro collection. As you know, I did a video not long ago where I opened the box just to check out the card backs and stuff, and as you know, it was awful. The cards were in a terrible state. It's a good job that I bought two, ladies and gentlemen, because not that I open many retro collection figures, I tend to go for the best modern interpretations of figures. For example, this figure here is Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. I know they've got retro lines for all of that now. Kenobi, Mandalorian. I just think the retro collection should be exclusively for what used to be retro, you know what I mean? Or maybe some figures that never were retro, like, Tarkin. That was a good idea. A Rebel Fleet Trooper. But I can understand the appeal. People like that style, because it certainly is a style, isn't it? But anyway, that's as far as my loose collecting goes for the retros. The first 12, really, because if you look behind you, if you're new to my channel, I've got a whole load of displays, chronological. I've got the prequels over here, original trilogy there. Behind me, I've got some other shelves. Like here, this is all dedicated to Tatooine, so you can see the Ronto and the Rancor and the Ronto up there, and I've got some my Tusken tribe is there. So that's why I look forward to Easter egging, as I call it. I'm going to be getting that Tusken Raider up on there, and I've got the Jawa. When I get that open, I'll put it somewhere in the Tatooine area. I've got Luke and Leia over there in the Death Star section. So I quite like the idea of just sneaking a few in. Being a child of the 80s, albeit I was probably 4 or 5 years old when the end of the original vintage line was running, I did, at one point in my life, have these in my hand, including this. I'll never forget that. I had a couple of R2s, but I used to love that figure, for example, and 3PO. All of them. Love the smell of them and everything. And as discussed, the smell of these figures is not the same, and the look of them. And dare I say, there'll be other reviewers out there who will be doing proper side-by-sides on these figures and comparing them to the original 80s. I do actually have an 80s Ben over there. We'll probably get that off the shelf and have a look, but unfortunately, I don't have a full kind of set, so I won't be able to do a side-by-side. But I can tell from my memory, like even when I look at this figure here now, I can tell that the plastic of that cape does not look as strong as the previous did. The lightsaber, no, it had a very specific look. The plastic was kind of a semi-translucent. That is kind of translucent, but it was very bright and strong and vibrant. That looks slightly duller, and I don't know, man. It's not a bad approximation at all. I mean, look at that. Great to see Vac Metal back. But also, the bubbles of these are way too big. I wish they'd scaled them down a little bit more. But still, so that's the situation. So it's a good job, as I say, I bought two of these, because the first set that came, and check out the video, they came in a right state. The card backs were awful. But look at this card back there. Look at that. It's got veining on it, which is awful. So obviously, it's easy for me. It's a no-brainer that I know which one I'm going to open. I'm happy to report that the second lot that came were absolutely fine. I couldn't wait to see if they were in okay condition, because otherwise I would have been absolutely snookered, man. But yeah, so it's a shame that they arrived damaged. But again, for myself, opening them, it doesn't really matter too much. This was another one that had bruh veining on it. And they were quite warped as well. In fact, the box that they arrived in, this is from Pulse, had this terrible ding on it as well. But still, that's by the by. I think it's time to get these open, and then if you want to see where I'm going to put them, I might just give you a quick look at these shelves and stick them in a couple of places. So there's a lot to come. But I think it's all about opening them, man. I can't wait to get these loose. Where do we begin? I think we're just going to go for it, man. Let's get the Jawa open first. I'm just cutting these open carefully because I might do stuff with these cards. Oh, the smell is not what I never had a Jawa as a kid, but it didn't smell like what an 80s figure would smell like. But that's because we're not in the 1980s, ladies and gentlemen. And there's the Jawa. Look at that hood. I wish they'd done a vinyl cape for this guy. That rings a bell, because I did buy, in about 2016, I bought myself a vintage Jawa, and I put a custom vinyl cape on him, and I made a kind of a custom vinyl cape Jawa. That plastic does not I mean, it isn't the same. It can't be. It'll be different. We're in different times and blah, blah, but I can just see it. I'm so glad that I have a living memory of vintage 80s figures. Now, there'll be people older than me who have a very good idea of what's what, but I can tell immediately there's a difference, and I don't think it's for the better, really. But again, not a bad approximation. Next, I'm going to open this Death Squad Commander, a figure that I never owned this as a kid. And as an adult looking at it, it's such a disappointment, this figure, given they could do the dome of Vader's helmet so well. Why couldn't they get this guy's, the shape of this? It looks like such a pudding bowl. He looks like that villain from Crystal Skull, doesn't he? That Russian. You know what I mean? Look at him. They go down and like Darth Vader's helmet has got like a colander, but that just looks like a Christmas pudding on his head. At least they've got the circles on the top there. It's a shame they just couldn't pull back a little bit more. It doesn't matter. But some people will see that and be totally blown away by the nostalgia of it. But for whatever reason, I never even saw this figure as a kid. Nobody I knew who I went, when you go around to someone's house, you see what figures they've got that you need. No one had this that I know of. I never had this in my hand or saw it back in the day. So I think I only ever first saw this figure in my, maybe even in my 30s, man. I swear to God. Isn't that insane? But anyway, there he is. Still nifty, though. I'm going to put him somewhere. Might Easter egg him. I keep calling it Easter egging, but you know what I mean. Slot him in somewhere. I've got some Imperial shelves, with all the entourage, Tarkin and his cronies and some auxiliary troops. Maybe get him in there. Wow, let's get R2-D2 open, man. In fact, no, before I open R2, I want to get this guy open first. Because these three here, I had that one as a kid, didn't have that, but I had all these four in the 1980s, in the late 80s. Well, mid to late 80s. And one thing I don't have a memory of as a kid is the gaffy stick. I don't know why. Maybe I was so young I lost it pretty quickly. But I do remember looking at this figure as a kid and loving the detail on the head. So put the gaffy stick like that. I can't wait to put him on the shelf. Look at him. He's great, isn't he? That looks great, man. That's really good. Even for a vintage 80s, it's kicking ass. It's always had good feature, that. The eyes, the mouthpiece, they've always nailed it. It's in that timeless vein, whereas our man here, the Death Squad Commander, has definitely aged without as much grace. Now then, this is one of my favourites as a kid, R2-D2, loved it. One R2 I never had, though, was the one with the lightsaber. I always wanted that. I had a friend who had that, and I was so jealous. That goes for a fortune, that now, as well. Let's get him open, man. There it is. Now, it's not long ago I did have a vintage 80s R2 in my hand. I bought one off eBay, an old vintage 80s, and it was a dome top as well, without the sensor scope. Got it for a bargain, and then I just put some custom stickers on it, adhesives, because the stickers were knackered from the 80s. I think I got the stickers from Restore Nation or somebody like that, so a lot of people frown upon that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, if you're doing a bit of restoration, who cares, man? Look at that. I love that. Look at that. Shiny, beautiful vac metal. Hello there. Nice. I used to love it as a kid. It was just the sparkliness of I loved the eyepiece too. that blue, aqua blue vac metal on the red and the blue there. Loved it. This is going to be awesome. You can't have this guy stood without 3PO, which I'm going to now open him too. Let's do it. C-3PO, you're next. And we're done. so many memories of having 3PO. I definitely had more than one, and I remember the removable limbs and everything. I think I had the 3PO I owned was the one that came with the Chewbacca card back, and I had so many of them as well. I must have had at least 3POs, because I had those vinyl bags that go on the back of Chewbacca as well. Let's put this away. Let's just have a quick close look at him. I mean, back in the day, I mean, it's aged alright, I guess. We've subsequently had better sculpts of 3PO. Even Vac Metal ones, like the one that comes in the Saga collection, the one that's the Endor one, right? That's the best one. But back in the day, this just looked awesome. Just like Vader used to look awesome, and still does. The vintage 80s Vader is still a really good looking face and figure and stuff, but it's not bad. Certain angles, it's just spot on for 3PO. Look at that. It's just, as I say, the eyes are good, but it's just being surpassed by excellent sculpts. In fact, since I'm talking about it, I'll go and get what I'm talking about. This is the one from the Saga collection. The deity, the Endor god 3PO. But look at it, you see? It's absolutely flawless. And it's Vac Metal, which makes it so you've got that nostalgic buzz and a brilliant sculpt. But this is still fantastic for its time. And even now, certain angles are great. So you can't have one without the other. So I'm definitely going to have them somewhere on these shelves together. And I can't quite work out yet where. I could have them in there. Control room. I could have them in Tanty 4. The choice is mine, ladies and gentlemen. The world is my oyster. And I think that, I think it's time now to open the main McDaddy. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I do have a Kenobi, which I'm going to go and get very quickly. 1 minute. Here it is. This is a kind of half custom. The figure itself is a vintage 80s. I bought this not long ago, about a year ago maybe. The lightsaber on him is a tacky custom. It's almost like it's painted blue plastic. Or I don't know what it is, but it isn't far from what the 80s one was. This lightsaber here this is a retro collection Vader. And this one, when I opened this, I definitely felt like I was seeing what used to exist in the 80s. Kind of a translucency, a solid plastic, very, very bright. I'm hoping this Kenobi one will also look better maybe when it's out the packaging, but at the minute it's slightly duller than I remember as a kid. Also, I can't remember which Obi-Wan I had. If I had the grey hair or the white hair. I know there were two variants, but let's get him open. And we are done. I really hope one day they'll give us that alternative card back for Obi-Wan. With the blue saber. I'm hoping that's going to be a TVC thing they do. They better not give us this card again. We've already had that in VOTC and such like. But still, here is Ben Kenobi. Wow, what are your thoughts? And this is a custom. Tell you what, man, let me just put that down a minute. This is the custom, the vinyl cape on that, which is probably from some sort of brown beach ball or something. I don't know how they've done that. It's slightly red in colour, that. It feels thicker like I remember the 80s one. But this one here, I don't know, man. I'd have to get in a time machine and go back and have a look at the figures I used to own. But overall, it's not a bad approximation of what was once, you know, what used to be. And yeah, that is slightly brighter. I used to love this figure as a kid because I just loved the blue lightsaber. Never mind who had it, either Luke or him. The blue one was just beautiful. It's the first lightsaber you see in the film anyway. In the whole saga, sorry, the series. And the plastic, just like I got with the Jawa, it just doesn't seem like, yeah, let's have a look at this one. This definitely is a vintage 80s, right? Look at that. Solid brown. It's got that smell as well. Look at this. Hong Kong, 1977. Amazing. 77. I thought they started making the figures in 78. What the hell? Amazing. And then look at that. It's just got, it's it's not translucent, but it looks slightly lighter in thickness, in density. LFL China Hasbro, says on the thing there. But, you know, for what it is, for what it's worth and stuff, it's just a lovely modern interpretation of yesteryear, you know what I mean? There they are, both side by side. That's the only side by side comparison I can give you people. Original with custom cape and lightsaber. The new one. It's just great. But now I'm going to get rid of that and do something else with it. On my Vader versus Obi-Wan shelf, which is just up here, I've got a collection of figures depicting the battle, the lightsaber duel on the Death Star. I'm going to keep these two together because they match, you know what I mean? They're both retros now. So I will be doing something with this. I don't quite know what. Put him somewhere else maybe. I might make a separate display of historical Obi-Wan figures or something, I don't know. But that's nice. Let's get them all together and I'm going to give you a final overview. Thank you for your help, Vader. And I'm going to leave it there. I did say I was going to show you where I'll Easter egg them, so do stay tuned if you want to see that. There's the Jawa, the Death Squad Commander. They are nice looking figures. They do look nice, man. The Tusken. Very nice. R2 and 3PO. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Now, anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my gimbal in action, put my camera on here, go and put these figures in some places on the shelves, and then we'll call it a day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. Let's just start down here on another retro collection figure I have, which is Boba Fett. That's another good one. Right, let's go and show you where everything is. I've got some over here in my Tatooine section, and I have some over here in the main New Hope section. Let's go and have a look at them. First off, I just thought I'd put them here to start with because there's something iconic about that diorama. The Death Star control room. Yes, I know it's a bit of a mix here of modern and retro, but who cares, man? Not far away, we've got Han and Chewie there, and I've got the twins there. I like that. See, in the background, I've got like the modern action. So it's like telling a story visually. You've got the two characters and what they did there. And obviously you've got them here as well. That's the first time Luke sees Leia, technically. And then just those two there look pretty cool, man. Where else? I put another one just here. I don't quite know where I'm going to put him yet, but he's just amongst the Imperial entourage. You've got all these New Hope-esque characters here. Tarkin, Yularen, Motti and others, and then he's just there. I might even have him further back just so he's in the background. Like I've got these sort of dudes just part of the entourage, you know what I mean? But for now I just sort of put him in the foreground there just so you can see where he is and how he looks. Sorry about the focus. Let's see if I can capture him there. Mouse droid there too. Nice. Down here as promised, I'll show you the shelf if you've never seen it, if you're new to the channel. This is all the figures that are some of my favourite ones of Obi, Old Ben v Vader. And they all match. Modern 5 POA, Power of the Force 2, cinema scene, statues there, fully articulated with soft goods, end of the battle there. But then it's kind of funny, I love the way I've got them, just sort of, they look like they're stood together as allies there. But it's like a history thing, isn't it? Check out the two figures that used to be, and then after which, you know what I mean? But there they are. Nice to have that in the background as well. The tractor beam station terminal. And what else? That's them. I think I've done everything now. Let's go and have a look and see where our friend the Tusken Raider is. And I've put him right in the front just for now. There he is with his new tribe. Got a mix of Attack of the Clones people here. And then that's the most modern one there. That's the best one. Go and check out my video, the best of the first 12, if you haven't seen that. You'll see the very best that the figures have to offer now. And then this is where it all started. I like that. It's nice. Some people were moaning saying, oh, don't put retros with your modern figures, but come on, man. it's history, you know what I mean? It all blends in. I see that as being seamless. I can see, you know, when people do those videos, historical videos like that JCC 2224, he does like the best from then and now. Well, I'm seeing it right there. I'm seeing a mix, una mezcla de las figuras. And up here, got the Ranto creature. And I've got loads. I love having the, let me see if I can tilt it a bit better. That's better. I love having the Jawas up there because look, they've got those sunroofs on the head where the light shines through. And yeah, man, you can see it when they're on that high pedestal coming through their eyes. Look. And this is where the new guy is. He looks so dark with that robe. I've never been a fan, whenever I've seen images of it, of the soft goods Jawa. I think he should have had a vinyl cape. You know, when they, well, he did have, there was such a thing, very rare. But when Hasbro made the retro collection, I think they should have done soft vinyl cape. But still, it's still nifty, and it's a little bit of history there. Anyway, I think that is everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you have enjoyed that video. If you have, please do show so. Does that make sense? Please do give the video a like. And I appreciate your time watching if you've made it this far. And I'm going to leave it there. I shall leave some links in the description below of some of the other videos I have mentioned in the production of this one. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.